you have to go out and get the opportunity, even if it has nothing to offer you right now. Because in the big picture, all of these little tiny opportunities that you don't think add up to anything are what gives you credibility.
That's Emily Jemison, the founder of 77 Cosmetics. We got to sit down and talk to Emily about her journey as a makeup artist, eventually working her way up to doing makeup on a slew of celebrity A-listers. People like Jessie James Decker, Savannah Chrisley from Chrisley Knows Best. If you check out her Instagram, she has done all the red carpet events. She is one incredibly talented woman. In our conversation, we got to hear about her journey from transitioning her service-based business of doing makeup to eventually creating an entire product line of cosmetics. Here is the one-of-a-kind Emily Jemison. When it comes to your business, can you tell us a little bit about just where it started?
I think I've always loved beauty. And I was a dancer growing up, so being on stage, the whole entirety of it, it wasn't just the makeup, it was the lights, the set and being on stage or the costumes and doing your hair, throwing glitter on it, whatever it was just all very exciting from a young age, But yeah, so I went to college in Arizona, and then I came home and I got what some people would call a desk job. And I think we all knew that wasn't going to last very long, but it was good. It was, it was good to see what I was capable of. And I'm grateful for it because I don't think it would have pushed me to where I am now if I hadn't have had a job that I disliked. I think you have to go through a couple, it's like boyfriends. You have to go through a couple boyfriends to find the right one type of thing. Girl or girlfriends. But yeah, so I started doing makeup and I moved back in with my parents and I got my license and I came home and I sat my parents down and I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it 100% and I'm moving to LA. And they were like, great.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that you had that type of support.
I am very lucky to have supportive parents. Most parents hear that you want to get into the beauty industry or do something that's not quote unquote stable. It can be nerve-wracking. Right. I see that from an adult's perspective now that I'm a little bit older, but from day one, my parents, I think they knew I was going to end up here. It was just a matter of how and when. But support, I am filled. My cuppeth overflowed in support. So I moved to LA, and the rest is kind of history.
What was one of your first milestones that you were thinking, okay, if I could just do this, then?
Right when I moved to LA, actually, okay, I do have one. I was asked. This was maybe a month in. I walked my butt into every single agency in LA, showed my face, dropped my resume, and said, I'm available anytime and I'll work for next to nothing. Just hire me as an assistant. And I would rotate. God, this is kind of embarrassing now that I look back at it, but this is what it took. I would call every agency and be like, hi, my name's Emily Jemison. I just want to remind you that I dropped off my resume. It was so great speaking with you. I'd love to be considered to assist one of your artists. And they were assisting huge artists back then. And I got this call to do a Halloween party for Kate Hudson.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that I will say that was one of the moments when I was like, okay, I am sitting in Kate Hudson's living room right now, and I think that was the only time in my career where I was like, yeah, I've made it.
I've made it.
I've made it.
Doing good.
And I did nothing. I cleaned brushes or something, so minimal. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's part of being successful though, is never feeling like that, not being complacent. And if you do get to a point where you're like, I've made it, it's like, where's the fun in that?
Totally.
What's the next challenge?
Definitely. So then can you tell us a little bit about the clients that you've had that have been successful, that you feel like you were really excited about when you got that phone call, that you got that job? Or
Totally. So I started working with a family pretty early on, and I would do a lot of their stuff when they came to LA when I was still working in LA. And they have a reality series, The Chrisleys, and their show got so big that they finally had the budget to bring someone out to do glam full time. And I had such a great relationship with them. They're just the best people in the whole world. They've become family. It's such an intimate thing that you become so close with these people. So I was going out there and working on the show, and I always told myself, like, I want to be on set. Like, I want to do movies, I want to do TV, I want to be on the red carpet. Like, that was what I wanted to do. And that was just kind of the first of many opportunities that I had to do that. And I think Nashville was a good move just because LA is great, right? But it's so concentrated and it's such a different world that I just felt like the market in Nashville was more my style. And it worked both ways. Like, they were looking for someone like me and I was looking for someone like them. And I just meshed with them really well. And, one client led you to another, to another, to another. And before you know it.
That's amazing. Emily, you're incredible.
Well.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, 29. I am too. What were some of the connections that you made that may have helped you?
Oh, I owe everything.
Business.
To that side of, my life. It was like I spent the better part of a decade on an airplane every 2 days, and I could wake up in one state and then have a phone call an hour later and have to be on the other side of the country. It's just, you have to be willing to go get it if it's put in front of you. People are like, oh, you're lucky. And I'm like, oh, I look at luck as more of like preparation meets opportunity. It's like, you're never ready. People think that it's just an overnight thing or that it's like handed to you on a silver platter. And they're like, oh, how great. But just because Instagram or something says that or appears that way does not mean that that's life. I'm a mess 99% of the time. But just because I took a shower today and like look half decent doesn't mean that's how it is all the time. There were weeks where I went without a job and, or I would go to a job and spend 10 hours on a set and get paid next to nothing and work for free and do D-list celebrities for, again, like a nickel or just for like a shout out on Instagram. And that's just part of the hustle these days is you have to be willing to get down and dirty and do the stuff that is beneficial in the long run.
It was like a beautiful visual of you being stressed to the max, doing makeup on everybody else, like making them look nice. So you had a service that you were providing, you were doing makeup for people, and then the idea came to create one product. So where did that idea come from? Where did the idea of I'm going to transform my service into something that sells product versus just using product with my service?
Yeah, it's interesting the way you say it because, I was just like, oh, this product is missing from the market and it's something that I would like to use. And it was tricky because, you tell a chemist and a chemist is very, they're not very artistic. They're more like formula based. And so it took us probably 10 tries before I was like, okay, this is good. This is what I wanted. And like, I'm super cautious about what I put in our products and all the ingredients are clean. And that was like a big playing part for me. So once I had the product and it was working, I would use it on my clients. They'd be like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I need this. And that was just, like I said, validation of a sense because it was just validating what I made is filling the hole in that market. So I don't know, I guess you could just say I thought of this idea like from an entrepreneurial point. Like I thought of this idea. I was like, okay, what's it going to take to create this product? And then working with a chemist and having multiple failed attempts, you finally get a good one. And from there, it was like, okay, now we got a brand and do packaging and get a graphic designer. It's like, we were talking about this the other day. It's like CEOs, you have to do everything. It's not just like, okay, you're credible in the makeup sense, so that gives you the opportunity to have a successful makeup line. It's like, no, you got to be a graphic designer. You have to be a marketing expert. You have to be an accountant. You have to be everybody's boss and oversee everything. And then you just have to hire people that you trust enough so you get to the point that you can just oversee it and not have to do it all.
So there's a lot of bootstrapping in the business.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. So what is your company's name and what do you sell?
Okay, so 7/7 is my birthday, and it's always just been a really lucky number. 7-7 is all about the realistic, average, everyday girl who just wants to pick up a product and know exactly what it's going to do just by looking at the front label and being able to read the ingredients and know that it's clean and know that it's going to work. Like for me, as a consumer, I want to go into a store and pick up something and be like, this is exactly what I need. You know, it's fun to pick up things and be like, oh, this will be fun to try, but it never ends up being a staple in your kit, right? So for me, the people we're trying to reach are people who are trying to get out the door, get the bare minimum on their face, and they just want the result of what the label says, right? So that's where we're at now. We're definitely an indie skincare brand. Hoping to grow, on our way to growth. But yeah, we started with one product and it was more of just like a hobby back then. From there, we developed more products and, you know, now we're at seven now. In 2020, we're going for about 10 more, which is going to be fun and exciting and we'll be very busy.
So when you created your first products, what was the response like?
Honestly, it was great, which I wasn't expecting. You know, I was just like, oh, I'm a makeup artist. Like, I'm coming out with a product. People will either love it or they'll hate it. And the response was really great. And it almost just like validated my thoughts that there is a hole in the market for certain products. And you just have to be able to find out what people are looking for. And I feel like with my experience and knowing what works with certain types of skin types and certain types of people and styles, it's more about just trial and error. In any realm of business, you just go for it and jump before you're ready. And if people like it, great. If not, then you don't take it as criticism. You take it as feedback and you learn from it and move forward.
So true.
Yeah.
So how do you stand out? Because I don't know that much about the competitors of the makeup market, but I have a feeling that it's a jungle.
Very saturated.
Yeah. So how'd you make certain decisions early on and how has that changed perhaps over the genesis and everything of all these different products?
It's changed a lot. I'll say what we started with is not at all where we are now. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time we messed up or did something wrong or, you know, made a mistake, it's like you can't think of it that way. You just have to think of it as like a learning experience, and that is teaching you something for later on. You know, at first I thought it was just going to be one product and I was just going to sell this one product, you know, and that's just how I saw it. And then I realized, you know, once you're in it, it's kind of easy to keep seeing yourself moving forward, if that makes sense. Like, there's no bar. There's no like, oh, I've made it. Now I can stop. It's like once I've hit that bar, I'm like, okay, what's the next bar? So once I had accomplished that one product, it was like, okay, what do we doing next? Like, what are we making next?
What was the product?
The first one was the setting spray. It was finishing mist. And then we did night mist, and then we did our oils.
So with the brand right now, what are some of the big steps that you're taking to grow it?
So this is where it kind of gets tricky. It's like we have marketing, we have branding, we have content, we have products, we have everything to put in front of someone. I think right now we're just trying to take it to the next level, which is tricky because there's no formula for that, right? So it's more just trial and error, which I think is you can relate to any aspect of life. It's like, okay, well, let's try this. And if it works, great. We'll take notes and learn. And if it doesn't, kind of the same thing. Like you take whatever data and information you can from it and see where you can apply it elsewhere. Like obviously the goal is to like get it in Sephora or Ulta or one of the really big cosmetic brands. But right now we're just e-commerce and we sell with a couple of boutiques. Like we did a bit with Free People. Okay. And we're doing a bit with
That's big. That's not a small thing.
That was really cool for us. We were very excited about that.
How did you get that connection?
So my graphic designer, Anna, who is just out of this world, she worked at Free People and she made the connection. So, but it's funny because Anna and I went to college together, right? And like people will look at my career or my degree, degree and be like, well, you don't even need a degree to do makeup. But I'm so grateful that I did because it has connected me to so many people that are like, relevant in my business right now. So she's been our graphic designer since day one. Like day one, I was like, oh, I want to pick your brain. And she just ended up freelancing for us. And she's just one of those people where, like you in design, like she puts something together and you're like, how did you do this? So she made branding very easy for us. It was kind of just like, that's
like,
exactly what I was going for.
Totally. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then she's in your like little tool belt in the business. And who else do you have?
Okay. So yeah, we probably have like 5 people that we contract with. We have like a coder and graphics, a photographer.
I was curious with like the marketing component. You were saying that it's a lot of trial and error. Have you seen that certain things have worked really well for you guys?
Yes, we've found that a lot of things work really well, and then we have found that a lot of things don't work really well. You know, it's just interesting, like what you and I like, or I don't know. You know, cosmetics might not be your thing, but for you, like videography, you could see something online, and you know, Instagram is so detailed now where it's like it can track if you stare at that for more than 3 seconds. It's like, okay, I'm going to retarget you. And God, that is something I know absolutely nothing about or used to know nothing about. And now I spend my days on Instagram looking at like algorithms and timing how long I'm looking at pictures, as opposed to being like, wow, her eyeshadow is like real cool in that picture.
So you're thinking about it for a different hat.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
That's really interesting. So yeah, when you said that you spend your days on Instagram, is that where you do a lot of like market research or?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'd be a lie to say otherwise.
That you guys like mainly are on, would you say? Or
yeah, Instagram, Facebook. We do a lot of email, Pinterest. It's crazy because
so just all of the platforms, really.
All the platforms.
Okay.
But
do you have like an email drip campaign that you use?
Yep, exactly. See, you know what you're talking about.
Well, no,
Don't even lie.
I'm just curious, like what is working. And I mean, obviously, you said that you have a team, so I'm sure a lot of them are kind of helping you to run all of that. But
my CFO, he runs the company with me. We're like dual partners, and we're very much both invested in this the same rate. So it's just the two of us running the whole show together. We have a few employees that we contract in and out. Yeah. Eventually we'd love to have more. I think it's more just finding the right people.
Emily, I love what you were saying though about how in working with these celebrities, how they become your friends and how essentially they're just people, just like you and I, right? And I think that sometimes there's a little bit of this perspective that people who aren't celebrities or maybe don't have a large following, that they feel really intimidated, or they feel like, oh, well, those people can do that. They can create these big businesses, like they can live out their dreams, but I can't because I don't have these opportunities.
Right.
But I think that what's so cool about your story and with like pretty much anybody is it's so much of the drive behind that passion to be able to get things done. And I think that anybody can do that.
Oh, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
It's how bad do you want it?
Exactly.
How hard are you willing to work for it?
Right.
A lot of the reasons why I got hired was 1, because I would show up and be professional. 2, I was flexible. I was willing to drive 2 hours to the valley in traffic both ways just to do a 30-minute appointment. And 3, it's just like you're never prepared. You have to jump before you're ready, or you'll never be ready. It's almost not faking it till you make it, but it's like you have to go out and get the opportunity, even if it has nothing to offer you right now. Because in the big picture, all of these little tiny opportunities that you don't think add up to anything are what gives you credibility.
So what environments doing makeup with different high-profile people have you enjoyed the most, and what environments have been the most difficult?
I'll definitely say like a red carpet moment is my favorite. Like that's what absolutely thrills me. And I've been so fortunate to have opportunities to do lots of red carpets with lots of different celebrities. And that's just what gets me going. That's like where I feel the most thrilled and energized. And I'm like, God, this is exactly what I was put on this earth to do. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think, being on set and working on like big TV shows that are, where your name is in the credits and you get recognition for your hard work on like a worldwide platform and not just Instagram, if you will. I still will go in front of clients sometimes and be like, man, I'm so lucky to be here. Like, never in a million years did I think that I would get the opportunity to be in front of you doing your makeup. But the more time you spend with them, you realize they become friends. Like, your community becomes your friends. And at the end of the day, it's like, for someone like Savannah, I'll just use her as an example because she is my best friend. She is actually my best friend. Like, she is working so hard at building her brand and making a clothing line, coming out with a cosmetics line. From a person to a person, like, I am just another person, trying to grow my brand, trying to build a cosmetics line, like, and we root for each other. It's really cool. Like, she has no problem being like, that's so interesting. Like, tell me about your business. Like, what are you doing today? We're leveled. Like, and yes, she's a huge celebrity and she is super successful. But like from human to human, it's very cool for her to be a part of my community because she's very like-minded when it comes to business. And because I believe in something, it makes her believe in something, and that just gives you a ripple effect to whatever you're selling and your customers and whoever's following your brand. It's like if you take Bria, for example, she is so good at like styling and putting things together. I just like following Bria because I want to be a part of that. I love her vibe. I like feel like I can get to know her better just through social or whatever it is. Like, growing your community is essentially how you grow a business.
Exactly. And you've been able to grow your community. And so much so that you can now turn around and create product.
Right.
And then sell that product to your community.
Yeah. Like, a lot of the credibility comes from the people that I've worked with in the past, if you want to call them celebrities or whatnot. But people will say, oh, she works on this person or has worked with this group of people. That must mean she knows what she's talking about. And I hope that's what people think, because I would like to say, I don't know, there's so much to know about this industry, but I have learned a lot in my experience on the field and working with different types of clientele. And I'm studying the market every single day to learn more. And I just want to be able to give something to everyone, not just to celebrities, not just to someone like me, to anyone who wants to put skincare on their face. It's easy, it's simple, it's straightforward, it's to the point. I want to pick up a product and know that it's
gonna work
and it's gonna feel good and it's gonna say what it's gonna do, and I don't want to read any words that I don't know what they mean. I just want to pick it up and use it and know what it is.
So it's neat how you kind of have gone through this journey and now you're able to like really figure out, this is what I want my life to be like, and just the quality of life to be able to create that with an online business is so cool that we have the opportunity right now.
I think you nailed that on the head. I don't think this world is for everyone. I think everyone is entitled to live life the way that they see fit for them, right? For me, it's like, I'm exhausted. Like, I dove in real hard. I accomplished more than I ever could have dreamed of, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've had. And now I'm ready for like my next passion. And I don't think I would have ever been led here if it wasn't for my previous the previous decade that I spent grinding. But now it's just a different kind of grinding. It's, people think it's like this glamorous thing. I'm like, no, I'm in front of it.
So you wake up at what time in the morning?
I wake up at like 5:30 every morning, and I go until, it's a 24-hour job. And it has to be that way if you want to be successful. You have to think about it, dream about it. Even when you're not thinking about it, it's still sitting in the back of your head. Like, every single thing in life has to be orbited around this baby of yours. That's the only way it'll work. Otherwise, you burn out. So we find new ways to stay enthused.
Emily,
Bria.
We've loved having you on the podcast. We are so grateful and fortunate that you just gave us a lot of your time today. How can people find you so they can follow you and check out your story and your brand and find the products that you're selling?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. I feel so lucky to be here. But yeah, you can follow me personally at Emily_Jemison on Instagram and 77 Cosmetics on Instagram. It's just the @ handle and then SEVEN Cosmetics, or www.77cosmetics.com.
Hey, thanks for listening. Don't be a stranger. Hit the subscribe button and let us know how you enjoyed the episode in a rating on the podcast app or in the comments below if you're watching. And remember, you're one of a kind.